So let's get started making our video game from scratch. Here I have Visual Studio open, and the first thing you need in Visual Studio to start up making an application is a project file. And the way you get one is you say File, New, Project. And then I'm going to go ahead, there's a lot of options of what type of language you want to use and what the starting template you use is. We're going to use Visual C++, C++ application, and an empty project. So we're going to start from absolutely nothing. No MFC, no Windows Forms, nothing. Just straight from nothing. We need to name our project now. And I'm going to call it, for lack of a better name at the moment, AAA Game. And go ahead and click OK and see what we get. It looks like we've made a AAA game project containing a AAA game solution containing a AAA game project of type C++. And let's go ahead and run it. To run a Visual Studio project, you hit debug and then start debugging, which is hotkey to F5. I'm going to use F5 from now on. So go ahead and hit that. And I get an error that it wasn't able to find or start the AAA game.exe executable. And that makes some amount of sense. We don't have any source files, so it wasn't even able to make anything from nothing. So we need to add a source file. So to add a source file, you right-click on the project, add new item, and I'm going to choose a C++ source file. And again, it needs a name. And in this file, we're going to define the entry point to our application. And I'm going to call the source file WinMain. I'm going to go ahead and change the directory down here to code so we can more easily differentiate the code part of our game from the other parts of our game that we'll put in later. Go ahead. Okay, with those set, I'll hit add. And there we have a C++ source file in our project. Again, hit F5 to see what we get when we compile and run this. And we get an error. Looks like it successfully compiled the C++ file, even though it's blank. But when the linker came along to link all the compiled objects into an executable, it could not find an entry point to put where the program starts. And like I said, in Windows, WinMain is the function that is the entry point for a Windows application, and we didn't have one, so the linker failed. But the one thing, it's just a function, but it has some special, specified parameters and return value. I'm going to just go ahead and look those up on Google because I don't remember what the parameters for WinMain are. And I get the first answer. It takes me to MSDN, and I'll just copy this declaration into my program, and that'll set up what I need for a WinMain declaration. These in things here, those are just little tags that help some compilers let you know if you haven't or have initialized your variables properly. But since a lot of functions are, particularly in MSDN, are inconsistent, I'm just going to get rid of them all and never use them. So here we have our declaration. Returns an int value, so I'll just return 0. That's the typical return value when you returned just fine. And looks like a valid function at this point. Hit F5, run, and again, get some errors. And these errors are mostly that parts of this declaration aren't defined. And you can see the squigglies telling us that this a variable type isn't defined. Going back to MSDN, if we look at the WinMain page, normally at the bottom of these, there's a field or something to indicate what header files you need to use these functions. And here it says this is defined in WinBase, but it suggests we include windows.h. And that's pretty common in Windows programming, that you need to include windows.h to have access to most of, or a good chunk of the basic Windows functions. So we define windows.h, all our squigglies go away, things look pretty good. Hit F5 to run again. And even though not a whole lot happened, we got no errors, so we might have been successful. Let's put a breakpoint in to double check. Hit F5, hit the breakpoint, executed our, and if we continue, we exit the program and we exit with code 0. So we have, this is pretty much the simplest Windows application possible. You know, it's just got a main, does absolutely nothing, and returns 0. Let's go ahead and look up our executable that we made in AAA game debug. Here it is. We made a 27K executable. That if we run, it'll do the same nothing, which is pretty cool. In the next video, we'll go ahead and actually create a window and start drawing some stuff on the screen. Thanks for watching.